I do have skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
G'day everybody, how the hell are you? April Fool's Day. It is the 1st of April 2019. Guess where I'm going? You got it right, guys. I'm off to Otho District Court to go and have my final day where I get to get this. I'll keep all of the actual thoughts of the words that I'm actually thinking in relation to this gentleman just to myself at the moment. But where I'm going to get this calling Stevie baby up on the stand, and he's going to have to answer my questions. And there will be many. Now, as a rule of thumb, what I'm going to do when I first go in there also is, and no, I'm not wearing the court security officer jersey today. It's a really nice quality jumper, and just like any nice quality jumper, it's as itchy as fuck. So I didn't mind wearing it last time because just to give a little chihuahua something to chew on, but I'm not going to do it today. I haven't met Judge Glove before, I haven't met Kev, so I'm just going to play it by ear. I also tend to enjoy myself just a little bit too much, so I've got to learn to pace myself somewhat as well. So, you know, all these little shortcomings you've got to work on as you go, and throughout the years doing this stuff, you learn a shitload every time you go through the process. So, anyway, yeah, we're going to have Stevie baby up on the stand, and as I was saying, as a rule of thumb, if you're going up on the stand, rule of thumb would be to always establish the impartiality of the adjudicator. So, you know, Your Honour, am I correct in thinking, or am I correct in knowing that you're to be a fair, independent and impartial adjudicator here today during this matter, or during these proceedings? He can only answer yes, can't he? He can't exactly say no. So that way you're getting it on the transcript, you're getting it on the record. And if it, in law and legalese, you know, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. You go and watch a few episodes of Judge Judy, for fuck's sake. People will tell her all these fanciful stories. She always says, well, have you got the documentation? Or the video, or the audio evidence, or a first-hand verifiable witness. That's what she goes for, so that's what I'm going to be doing too. But I'm going to broach with Steve the inconsistencies in the report details. Now, I tried submitting the report details that AT gave me in disclosure, and yet AT have objected to me submitting their own report, claiming that I've altered it, and the only way I've altered it is with a highlighter and handwritten notes. I haven't altered any of the information, I haven't adulterated the veracity of the document whatsoever. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to be asking Kev, because I've now got the direction from the court, from Judge Glove, stating that it's to be transferred over to a judge-alone trial, but he's stating it that he's doing that upon the request of Justice Hayworth, Selwyn baby. So, as I read Section 363 of the Criminal Proceedings Act 2011, it reads that a judge must request for it to be transferred into his jurisdiction, not the Justice of the Peace asks for it to be stepped up to that jurisdiction. So, yeah, this is a new one on me during the $80 ticket saga, because I'd had so much fun for 6 weeks before the actual first preliminary hearing. The court staff put me straight in front of a judge. There was no JP, there was no Selwyn. So yeah, So this one was a new one for me. But according to the legislation, the judge has to make the request, not the other way around. It's like the parent's the one asking or stating what's going on, and it doesn't matter how much the child, i.e. Selwyn, protests and wants something to be done. It's up to the parent to make that decision, not the child. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be somewhat questioning the photographs, even if everything I submit, and there's been exhibits A through to Q, I think, out of the 13 or 16 odd exhibits that I've submitted, that the prosecution has objected to, bearing in mind a lot of it is the prosecution's own evidence that they supplied me and disclosure that they supplied me, and they won't even allow their own stuff to be put into evidence. Even if all of the stuff I want to throw in there, including the audios and recording from Auckland Transport confirming that the road markings have been repaired, or the video footage of the actual white lines surrounding a car that was outside the place when I went and recorded it, I think it was on the 24th of October. Even if all of that is gone, the beauty of it is that if Auckland Transport only submit the 2 photographs taken on the 12th of October, that's insufficient. That shows my private motor car associated with the vehicle registration plate, which is what the Land Transport owns, because you've got to give your plates back, don't you, if you deregister, associated with the plates being parked there, but it doesn't show any offence being committed because you can't see any broken yellow lines where it's parked. The reason I know that to be pretty much bang on is because why the fuck else would the warden go back there over a month later on the 15th of November and take 3 more snapshots of the location? It's easy, because they know that they didn't have enough photographic evidence to satisfy the burden of proof, so they go back and take 3 more. Now, I've objected to those 3 photos because they don't show the offending vehicle anywhere in the photo whatsoever. If they want to go on that it's to show the environment of where the allegation happened, then it's going to be hard pressed to say, oh look, there's some broken yellows, and not say, oh shit, look, there's a white hockey stick in the same damn photo, isn't it? So their own evidence will be their undoing. But I'm really, my fun bit is going to be getting Steve up on the stand. To me, it's about time we started holding it, and if Steve had done his job properly, none of this would be going on right now. I wouldn't have been a pain in the ass for Auckland Transport's the last 5 months. I wouldn't have had to file half a dozen Official Information Act requests, spend countless hours typing up letters and stuff. I wouldn't have to do that. I had to do that after Steve's unlawful actions, because a wrongdoing requires redress. And if they're not going to follow their own rules and procedures to the letter, then they can't really enforce it, can they? So that's how it all works. It's just by pure accidental chance that I met a guy literally days after the alleged offence, or in fact probably even a few days before the alleged offence, who was going at that time for a job as a parking warden. So he's the guy that supplied me. If people want to know what his name is, I don't know. I shook his hand, introduced myself to him, but I didn't quite catch his name, and I didn't have that recorded. So, don't know what his name is. I chat to him online, but that's for a synonym. I don't know what his actual name is. And for some strange reason, he's gone somewhat silent in the last month or so since I've been speaking to him. Perhaps he's gotten a little bit of pressure, I don't know, but you know, it's a $44,000 a year starting figure job, so I don't want to stuff anybody's, you know, income up. So that's basically where we stand. It's about 9:15. As you can see, I'm stuck in fuck-ass traffic. But yeah, I mean, I could go off on tangents to the presiding officer, to Kev, and I could say to him, Kev mate, come on. I mean, not only are the road markings wrong, but I could bring in the Official Information Act requests and say, look, I've done this information, and apparently they've dished out 12 tickets since September, and I've got footage from September proving those white lines were there then. So, you know, that's 12 infringements. 2 people have paid. I'm going to court, and the other 9 have gone to Bay Court, which is just bad thing to do. And they might say it doesn't affect your credit rating, and there's no extra fees. We all know that's bullshit. Bay Court will slap extra fees on, administration costs for the company. Clearly they're not buying the debt because they can hand it back to Auckland Council. And when I say Auckland Council, I mean because Auckland Transport is an organisation of Auckland Council. Council's the parent company. So, you know, I don't know if you caught the contact details video clip there, where I'm reading out the Chief Executive Officer's details that are publicly available, and it's at $1.8 billion in profit last year Auckland Transport made. That's $1.8 billion they made out of all of you guys last year for providing public services. You know? So it's a gobsmacker when you actually look into these things, and I know most people don't have the time in the day to do this stuff. You know, it's just something I've always, well not always, but something in the last at least 7 to 8 years that I've felt passionate about. People need to start standing up for their rights, and that's all I'm doing. I'm maintaining my innocence until being proven guilty. That's all everyone has to do. And if it costs me more to do that than it would do to actually just pay the infringement, it's still the right thing to do. Because everybody else is being taken for a complete ride if you don't do these things. And then you end up with a broken system, which is where we are all now. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue that the system doesn't have its flaws. The problem is nobody's pointing out the flaws to get those things fixed or repaired or set right. And you have to do that. You can't sit on your fat ass in front of a keyboard, being a keyboard warrior all your life, complaining and whinging to all those other keyboard warriors out there, and not get off your fucking ass and correct a flaw when you find one. It's all well and good bitching about it. Do something about it and get off your ass and fix it if you see an injustice. You know, Judith Collins says we have the legal system, not the justice system. So use the legal system to fix what you might call the injustice system. Don't let these public servants that only have powers, but sometimes, well, most of the time, not the actual authority to exercise those powers. Don't let them fucking tell you what to do. They're there to serve you. I wouldn't have a waitress tell me what I'm going to fucking eat off the menu. So don't expect a public servant tell you how you're going to do something. If you want to know how to do something correctly, then get off your fucking ass and learn. Don't go by secondary information that you found out from someone else. Do your own study. The information's all out there to learn. I did. I'm just Joe fucking Blogs. I hated reading for the first 40 years of my life. And the first thing I start to read is a law dictionary. You know, so if I can do it, anybody else can fucking do it. And once you get a few small successes under your belt, your confidence level, your tenacity will just get stronger and stronger. Because that which does not kill you makes you stronger. You know? Think, guys, it's by will and mind I set my mind in motion. It's by will alone I set my mind in motion. Do unto others as you wish to have them done to you. Treat people with respect, you'll get some back. But at the same time, make sure you stand your ground. You don't have to treat people with respect and then be soft cocks and be pushed around all your lives. You know, the average Joe Bloggs probably breaks 200 legislative rules of society every fucking week, most out. I know there was some study out there, and no, that's all secondary information, haven't done it myself, but it's still a bit of a gobsmacker. But as far as my primary knowledge, you go to the source. If they're enforcing legislation against you, go to the legislation and see what it is they're enforcing, and make damn sure you have the correct interpretations of the words that are written there. Don't just assume and presume what you think the words mean. We are controlled by words, put together in sentence structures, and up to your interpretations. And as I've said before, you know, when Peter Jackson did the Lord of the Rings movies, he didn't go to fucking to Harry Potter's author, J.K. Rowling's. No, he went to J.R.R. Tolkien, because he wrote it and he wanted to get the information from the author, the correct interpretation from the author's perspective, to carry the books and the movies correct. And didn't anyone? You know, so it's really that simple. I can't hit it home enough. Having the correct interpretations of the words is key. Otherwise you just look like a fool. You know, and fuck mate, I've been a complete and utter fool throughout my time trying this, different variations of ways. It was only when then it dawned on me, why didn't I read their rule book? And I'm not getting dragged into their system, because I'm already being forced to play in their system. I already have to play the character of the defendant. So if I'm going to be forced to play that character, then I better know what that character can and can't do. If you're going to play fucking rugby on a field, you best know what position you're playing in that team and what you can and can't do. It's real fucking simple. Anyway, enough of my rant. I'm going to concentrate on getting in there, parked up, and go and play Batter Up. I'll catch you all there. I hope you have a wonderful day, and you can be sure there will be an update soon to follow. Followed with requests for transcripts from the Waitakere District Court and all the rest of it. But I don't know, there isn't one person that I've shown the photos in this case to, or explained it to, that hasn't agreed. Oh well, it's misleading road markings, you shouldn't get a ticket. And that's all it boils down to. Steve didn't do his job right. He didn't report the fault. He was going under a belief that everything was okay according to Auckland Transport. Okay. Cool. He also, no doubt, at one time believed in Santa and the Tooth Fairy and that he's on a heliocentric universe. He probably believed all of that shit too. Facts say otherwise. Alright guys, well it's 11 o'clock. I'm standing outside the Waitakere District Court. That's courtroom run inside there, and that's where it's going to be heard at about 11:30 this morning. We've just gone through the call. The judge is sorting out what she's doing. It's not Kevin, so I believe her Judge Waterhouse or something or other, I'm not too sure. I'm standing right by the cabbage trees, and if you have a look at the photo, there's the sign. Okay, so you can see from there right across over to the signs. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting case. Vanessa's there, Stevie baby's there, so game on in half an hour. We're going to have some fun. They've made particular attention when they started the court this morning that no recording is supposed to be happening, and even when I walked in through security, he had to repeat, now you're aware of that there's no recording, blah blah blah, and I just smiled at him.
Just a reminder that recording devices.
We'll see how that goes. Case is probably going to take about an hour, so hopefully about 12:30, 1 o'clock, all shit's going to get sorted if we don't get interrupted. Other than that, we'll see how we go. Bye. So, $130 court costs and a $60 ticket. You know, I mean, that's what I expect most people would have got dealt to them. However, in my case dismissed people, yep, I kicked their butt. The judge agreed with me that there were misleading road markings. I ended up shaking Steve's hand once he got off the stand, and it was adjourned until lunch had finished. And even patted Vanessa on the back and said, well done, good game, better luck next time. So, you know, at the end of the day, it just goes to show the legal system may be there versus the justice system, but irrespective of that, if you know how to use the legal system, justice prevails. When you think about the consequences, as if the judge had found in their favour, that would have been open season for Auckland Transport to go around and put white lines everywhere by yellows to mislead other people to get tickets. So the fact that I actually got Steve on the stand admitting that they appeared to be misleading was enough for me. So yeah, shocker. Anyway, catch us later. I'll give a full and prompt little bullshit about it very soon. See you guys.
Load it, cock it, let it go.